you say, okay, well, we don't study Confucianism anymore, therefore we don't have any moral guidelines anymore. We have the same problem as we do not have the church anymore. We don't read the Bible anymore, therefore we don't have any moral guideline. But I think that if I come to Japan, I can still see a lot of moral values in Japan. They may not come directly from studying Confucianism, but Confucianism has been around for a very long time and has become ingrained in the way that people think and the way that people act. Maybe there is a so-called deterioration in morale. It's possible, but I think that's of all time. That is of all time. It's not just
all the time.
All time. I think all times. I think that always elderly people have been complaining about today's youth because they don't share the same values. They in the 60s they had long hair. They were smoking dope all day, and things were getting worse and worse. And there was no future because the youth didn't have any hope, didn't have any backbone, didn't have any. It's passing. We don't have these kinds of youth anymore. So there are kind of wave movements in there. I don't see when I look at Japan that Japan is lacking moral values. I think that you do have moral values. Maybe there is a different source of them. Maybe we are on a different wave where we see, okay, people do not get up for elderly people anymore in the train. That's a symptom, but I don't think that's a bigger problem. When I look at the Netherlands, we don't go to church anymore. We don't pay. We don't pay respect to Jesus, to God, to the Catholic Church. However, I think that most of us still adhere to the values that they have received from their parents, from their schools, from all the other institutions, and still uphold them, because those are our unwritten rules. People still don't like to show off their money, still don't feel comfortable in living a very luxurious life and showing that to others. That's not because they're still Protestant, but Protestantism has taught us these moral values, and you do not just throw them overboard. There is a difference between we see younger generation who become .com millionaires, and they all of a sudden make a lot of money, and they may engage in spending that our parents do not understand. Sure, possible, but I don't think that is true for the entire population in the Netherlands. So the question, where do we get our moral values from? I can only answer that what is happening is that we no longer have Christianity, but we're still trying to uphold our moral values through education, by raising our children, not with from a spiritual background, not from a book, but from how we were raised and how we want our children to be. And that is based on our history, that is based on in the way we think, that is based on how we look at the individual versus the collective, that is based on the virtue of being modest, that's based on all kinds of things. And these are different per country. The virtue of being modest in the United States is different from the virtue of being modest in Germany.
One example is like Trump said American first, okay?
Right.
This is European the same national interest, right?
Right.
And Japanese people, or Japanese government, Japanese people, they don't have national interest.
Ah.
No.
What is this about the Senkaku Islands? About they have a lot of national interest.
No. That is a special case. But usually, Japan, they don't think about for supporting for overseas, like investment, Africa, 300 million investment. And Japanese government never think about Japanese first. Senkaku Island is, they just why they have conflict. They believe Japanese is Japanese territory.
Yeah.
Not Japanese interest. They believe that North Island the same.
Yeah. But that's
Like Trump is
that's also their
America
interest,
first.
right?
Is not Trump. And in the history, American national interest always thinking about not only trade, everything they consider for national interest.
right. The stability in the world or instability in certain
Japanese
countries.
never thinking about the kind of issue before.
But of course they also have a much different footprint in the world than the United States.
European people is the same. Italy is Italy first. But Japan never thinking that Japan first. No, they don't think that. It's different.
Really?
Mm.
Really?
No. Never thinking about give and take.
No, they don't give.
Only give.
No.
This is Japanese culture.
How many political refugees does Japan accept per year?
Oh, this is they understand. They cannot do well with foreigners. Japanese people understand. Like, do you remember that they invite Filipino, Indonesian people, 200 nurses come to Japan? Japanese people, what they're going to talk with them? You here black and I black. How come you cannot speak Japanese? Other people, for them to speak Japanese. They don't understand foreigners. That they cannot do well with overseas people. No experience before.
But yet there are quite a few foreign people who live in Japan, right?
No.
Oh, okay. Relatively speaking, a few. I agree.
Do you know the where to live? And they are living get together each other. Not dispersed.
Oh,
Korea or Vietnamese.
I work in Shinokubo. There's Koreans, there's Bangladeshi. They live together, but that's similar to the United States. You have black neighborhoods, you have Koreatown, you have Chinatown.
But difference is those people, American, Korean people, American, Taiwan people, working, living in the Korean town, Taiwan town.
Right.
But they're working with American people, everywhere. But in Japan, it's different. They cannot get commingle with Japanese people. But American,
not easy.
People commingling with each other.
Right.
But in Japan, Japanese people do not accept them. For the supermarket, they work in Asian people, but they are not doing well with each other. By person, in some cases, okay, no problem, but they can get it to Japanese society. They do not accept them.
Why is that, do you think?
No experience to do living up with those people.
But they cannot accept them, or they do not understand them?
No experience. Reason simple. No experience. They don't know how to make action for those people.
But they don't have interest in doing that? Or?
Yes, they have, but they don't want to.
They don't want to. So that's
they
what
They want they are any kind issues and treat like Japanese style, 100% Japanese way of life. Otherwise, they never accept those people.
Right.
Like a Japanese government try to accept 500,000 population from Asia Pacific, and some people Islam. Japanese people reject those people.